Yo. Good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. Salute to everybody. Salute to Mr. Mott. Salute to Brother Shelton, Latressa, Montgomery in the building. Convos with Cam. How y'all doing? Why my green screen look crazy? Anyway, it is what it is. I appreciate that, Latressa. I think it is as well. Oh, boy. Yes. Salute to Brother Shelton. Mr. Mott, salute to you. Thank you for coming through. Mr. Mott, is this your first time in the chat? Salute to y'all, man. Man. Boxing is wild, isn't it? You know, we have a great weekend of boxing, you know, with the Ring 4 card. You know, all the rightful champions won on that night. And, you know, it is what it is. And now we hear about this nonsense about the WBC allowing certain levels to accommodate Subriel Matias. Your boy KO was having a meltdown. He was? What was he talking about? You know, that's funny. He was having a meltdown. I was going to show this real quick. I'm going to show y'all something. I just want y'all to see the title. I don't even know what this dude talking about. And pardon me for being late. 4 of my 6 children are sick. So 4 of my 6 children are sick with some type of stomach bug. And, you know, I've been dealing with that. I've been having to sanitize sheets and, you know, helping the wife out. You know, we're deep cleaning the house this weekend. And it's not easy when you got a bunch of kids throwing up and pooping everywhere, you know. So, but you know, these are the duties of a father. Heading on Devin Haney in hyperdrive, of course he is. Y'all look at this real quick. Hold on, y'all. Wait. Let's you know. Let's see what he's talking about, right? Let's go on ahead. Fuck it. Oh. Here he is right here. He's live right now. Salute to my brother Drew in the building. Salute to you, man. Salute to the brother Drew. I'm going to cook everything on the WB side of things. That's what's up. That's what's up. I'm looking forward to it. I knew you was going to do it. I know all y'all was going to do it. I know y'all. But it's crazy, man, how we came to this in the first place. How this has continued to be allowed. You know what I'm saying? But look, great news. Great news. PBC plans will keep Devin from cherry picking Rolly Romero. How is trying to unify a cherry pick? You're trying to unify. He's trying to unify with Rolly Romero, and you're calling it a cherry pick. Help me understand that. Now we're cherry picking champions. Number one, it's not on Dev it's not Dev's fault or Dev's responsibility that Rolly Romero is champion right now in the first place, is a belt holder at 147. Devin didn't make that happen. What does he got? The WBC? Which belt does Rolly have? I forgot. No one asked them to elevate Rolly Romero to full champion in the first place. Devin didn't do that. How was Dev cherry picking, trying to unify? Well, of course it's not, because it was Tank. It was Tonka Truck. So of course it's not cherry picking. Man, if they don't knock it off, bunch of bullshit. But this is what we got going on. See, this is why boxing is in shambles right now, because guys like this, right? This is just a reality. But I'm gonna run through this real quick. Listen, the bottom line is Dev is trying to unify at 147. It's plain and simple. So saying that he's cherry picking is wild and out of control. Y'all like the glasses? These are red These are blue blocking glasses, right? It's a good idea to wear these if you're staring at a screen at night to preserve your circadian rhythm. Have on some red lenses is really good for maintaining the circadian rhythm. So if you guys are looking at screens right now, I suggest you get you a pair of these. They have some that aren't red lenses, right? So you can see all the colors properly, but red light at night is really good for you. It's really good for your body, right? It helps keep everything in balance. But anyway, yeah, cherry picking a champion is crazy. No one said that Devin was cherry picking Brian Norman Jr. until after he beat Brian Norman Jr. You see, this is that crazy wild shit. Matter of fact, what is he saying? I haven't even listened to any of this. Hold on. Cherry picking. How do you cherry pick a champion?
Fire, bro. Let's talk about Devin in his rematch with Tank Davis leftovers Ryan Garcia. Or let's talk about Devin Haney in his fight against Tank Davis leftovers Rolly Romero. Or Tank Davis leftovers Mario Barrios or some shit. But talking about...
Salute to D-Man Jr. Salute to you, bro. Welcome. Salute to D-Man Jr.
Tank and Devin at this point in their career is stupid. Tank got too much work to make way more sense. And the fact that we're talking about Tank Davis giving away his leverage to go where Devin Haney make way more sense. About Tank and Devin at this point in their career is stupid. Tank got too much work to make way more. But talking about Tank and Devin at this point in their career is stupid. Tank got too much work to make way more.
What? Talking about Tank fighting anybody is stupid because Tonka Truck is going to be fighting for his freedom in the court of law. For what I understand, supposedly. What are we talking about? Devin ain't thinking about Tonka Truck. Devin is not thinking about fighting Tonka Truck Davis right now.
More sense. And the fact that we're talking about Tank Davis giving away his leverage to go where Devin Haney would want him to go.
What leverage? What leverage does Tonka Truck Davis have? What leverage did Tonka Truck Davis have against Jake Paul? Not in there, not a bit. Not in there, not a bit. Tonka Truck Davis is not the money man in the sport of boxing. You know who the money man is? Turkey Al Sheik. You know who the other money man is? Jake Paul. There are no other money men in the sport of boxing right now. So what leverage does Tonka Truck Davis have? Except for leverage of a young lady's arm as he's hauling her out of the bottle service area. What leverage is he talking about? The delusion of this asshat knows no bounds. Salute to my brother Snoopy Mac in the building. Salute to you, bro. Salute to my man Snoopy Mac. This man is delusional.
Lets me know everything I need to know, bro. That's not even a conversation that need to be had right now, bro.
Didn't you say the same thing at 140?
Say
you
what?
remember last time
Said the same
I
thing
said
when
every
he was at
time
140.
I'm gonna continue. Yes, bro. Like it makes no sense. Like, what is the most important thing that you think Devin cares about the most going into a fight, or Tank cares about the most going into a fight? It's weight, right?
Devin wants the size advantage in every fight.
Tank Davis.
Man, shut the hell up. Wait. Now he knows what's important to Devin. This man knows what is important to Devin now? All right, man. He has no leverage when it pertains to Devin at all whatsoever. Anyway, let me show y'all this real quick. This shit is crazy as hell. Salute to Dante Russell. Salute to you, bro. Thank you for the $2 super chat. Thank you so much. Thank you. I appreciate the support. Now, this dude. So what do we got going on? This man, Subriel Matias. Why do I keep calling him Matias? Whatever. Fuck this dude. Subriel Matias. Obviously, pops dirty, right? But what are they saying? What are they saying about Subriel popping dirty? Well, they're saying Subriel Matias Ostarine levels below threshold. And they put it in quotation marks. Now, this is the Ring magazine now. The title defense could yet proceed January 10th, says NYSAC. So salute to my brother Blue Blood, who reported that the WBC will be raising the allowable amount, the allowable limits. They'll be raising that according to Blue Blood. And I have no reason to not believe Blue Blood because he's been extremely credible throughout his YouTube career. I believe that. But now this isn't about the WBC. He don't know what's important for it. He don't know. He don't know shit. He's still hanging on to Tonka Truck Davis. That's why he's talking about Devin and Tonka Truck in that manner, as if Tonka Truck is even concerned with being an active fighter right now. But look at this. NYSAC. Who else popped dirty under this commission? Who popped dirty in April of 2024 with this same commission? Think about it. Now, Subriel Matias was tested by VADA. VADA does not allow any amount of Ostarine, if you guys are aware. So, but it's not up to VADA to administer any consequences or punishment as a result of a positive test. Right? If you are tested under VADA, they do not allow any amount. Or I think it's actually the other way around. I thought, wait a minute. No, yeah. So all the VADA is doing is letting the commission know, the fighters and all the involved parties know what the results are. Right? So they will report any level of Ostarine. And I thought New York State Athletic Commission didn't allow any amount at all whatsoever. That's what I thought. Nevada does. But we have to understand that Ostarine is a completely synthetic. It's synthetic completely. It's not natural. Your body doesn't produce Ostarine at all. It's synthetic. So why would anybody allow? You can't find it in tainted meat, and it's generally not found in tainted supplements like other performance-enhancing drugs can be. Yes, according to Blue Blood, they are raising the allowable amount, right? They are raising, yes, and Ryan Garcia tested positive with the New York State Athletic Commission and VADA. Yes, he had 6 total tests pop dirty with the New York State Athletic Commission and VADA. So, Matias delivered an adverse analytical finding November 9th following a VADA test. Under World Anti-Doping Agency guidelines, Ostarine is classified as a non-threshold substance. Non-threshold, according to USADA guidelines. I'm not USADA, WADA. WADA, the WADA. Ostarine is classified as a non-threshold substance. Therefore, any detectable amount triggers an adverse analytical finding. So that means it doesn't matter what level of Ostarine they find in your system, they are going to report it as an adverse finding. So yes, VADA and WADA, there is no threshold, right? There is no threshold. And apparently, when Ryan Garcia tested positive, he was 60 times over the limit, over the allowable limit from the New York State Athletic Commission. The NYSAC, however, considers the presence of Ostarine abnormal at levels greater than 0.1 nanograms per milliliter. Matias' sample was measured at 0.085 nanograms per milliliter, which is below the threshold. The NYSC says Matias has been cooperative with the commission thus far regarding this matter and is subject to additional testing and review. Yes. So when Ryan Garcia was at 6.06 nanograms, he was 60 times over the limit. Right? But, Subriel Matias, he only tested at 0.08. That's all. That's all. In accordance with Commission's regulations, all licenses must comply with any medical examinations, laboratory testing required by the Commission, and the results of the competition testing administered by VADA are appropriately considered when determining fitness to compete in New York State. You're not supposed to have any level of Ostarine. But now they're saying the New York State Athletic Commission allows 0.1 nanograms per milliliter. Ryan Garcia has 6 nanograms. So this is, and I guess the WBC has their own levels that they allow, right? They have a threshold. They have a separate threshold. They have a separate threshold, which is being reported that they're going to raise that. And this is going to allow Subriel Matias to compete in January, on January 10th. But no one's going to make it. Doesn't listen. If you have 0.08 nanograms per milliliter, you have Ostarine in your system. Salute to the beautiful Queen Mother Shaquilla Fields in the building. Salute to you, Queen. Thank you for coming through. So I don't know why we have any allowable amount in any state commission, especially when it's a synthetic substance that cannot naturally occur, that cannot be produced by the human body or any animal, or can't be found in any meat or any eggs or any ostrich balls, cow nipples, ham hocks. No amount of ham hocks, cow nipples, ostrich balls are going to produce Ostarine in your system at all. Subriel Matias, 0.08 in the system. And they're going to likely allow him to fight on January 10th. Right? WBC President Mauricio Solomon announced after the ring broke the news of the adverse finding that it had begun an investigation process as per the clean boxing protocol. I've spoken to our champion, Subriel Subriel, and his promoter, Juan Arango, and they have expressed their absolute availability and cooperation as the process unfolds. You cooperating. You're doing what we told you to do. We're investigating according to the clean boxing protocol. What's going to happen? Well, Subriel Matias is going to fight January 10th. Absolutely. Absolutely. And the usual suspects, they'll brush it off. They'll act like it's nothing. Right? WBC will, they raised the allowable limit. No big deal, right? It's just Ostarine. It's just Ostarine. It's just 0.08 nanograms per milliliter. That's all. Right? Subriel, it wasn't a whole lot. It's evidence of performance-enhancing drug use. Salute to Mr. Mott. Thank you for dropping the $5 super chat. I appreciate you. Thank you, Mr. Mott. The OG Mr. Mott in the building. He says, at this point, if I were Barrios, I wouldn't even continue negotiations with Ryan without a current clean VADA test. He can't be trusted at all. Absolutely not. He can't be trusted. He needs extremely stringent testing. I agree with that 100%. Every fighter does. We back cheaters. Exactly. Brother Shelton. So, well, this is evidence of Subriel with his 0.085 nanograms. This is evidence of PED usage. This is evidence of SARM's usage, right? But it's under the threshold in New York State. In the New York State Athletic Commission, you can have 0.1 nanograms. Why is it that you can have 0.1 nanograms in New York? This is why I say no repercussions will be coming at all. He'll fight on January 10th. He'll make his bread. You know what I mean? He'll go on. Yes. And then what does this say? England Smith is the number 7 junior welterweight. He was installed as a slight betting underdog versus Matias in a virtual coin flip. Matias' lone defeat came in on June 2024 against Liam Parle via unanimous decision. Right? Now, Ostarine is the same banned substance Ryan Garcia tested positive for. Following his win over Devin Haney, they're still calling it a win, y'all. Stormy B-Man, Kung Fu Temple, salute to you, brother. Salute to the uncle. Salute to the sensei. He says this is more BS from the WBC Solomon and incompetent fighters who take part in this. Absolutely. It's absolutely ridiculous. It's a problem. It's a problem. They're still calling Ryan Garcia what they're saying. They're still saying Ryan Garcia won against Devin Haney after he tested positive. After he tested positive, they're still saying, oh, yeah, it was a win, right? What repercussions in reality did Ryan Garcia even suffer? They banned him for a year, and then what happened? He went on to fight Rolly Romero and made some money. He lost to Rolly Romero, got his ass whooped, and now he is in title contention against what's his name? I forgot his name. The guy at 147. What's his name? Freaking Mario Barrios. What is going on? Yeah, what repercussions have occurred? Meanwhile, are you? Yeah, you rinsed up, Stormy. Yeah, if Devin tests positive for PEDs, there would be no conversation at all. There will be no excuses. No one would be going to bat for Devin Haney, including myself, until and if he was able to prove his innocence, right? Huh? But think about that. Shit is crazy. If Devin Haney tested positive, there will be no conversation. But I want us to remember something. Oh, and shout out to Stormy B-Man for the dope-ass bucket hat. Y'all go check that out. It says the sensei, and then you got the cross swords right there in the boxing glove. You know what I'm saying? Salute to Stormy B-Man for the dope merchandise. So y'all go check that out. Do y'all remember this? I want y'all to remember this. Boxer Maxim Dadashev dies after bout with Subriel Matias. So, boxers die in the ring even when they're fighting opponents that are clean. Right? Salute to Story B-Man. He says, don't forget Romero should be thanking the Haneys for they made Garcia enroll in the anti-doping program for the New York card. Now he's going to be free. Yes. This is absolutely right. But of course, Rolly Romero is ducking because he wants to fight Pacquiao. And knockoff Pity Pat is saying that's a good thing because Devin is trying to cherry pick, according to him. Oh, yeah, for sure, Stormy B. I was just talking about how I copped this from you. This is the Stormy B Man merchandise. I was just talking about that. Mr. Ma says, yes, like it was yesterday. Anthony Latham says, now you can question if Matias was clean in that fight. Salute to you, brother. Yes, why not? He killed it. Isn't Subriel Matias is what? 22-1? Or 23-1 with 22 knockouts? Now we discover that he popped dirty for Ostarine. And this man killed someone in the ring. Killed this man. This man died fighting Subriel Matias. Russian boxer Maxim Debyshev died on Tuesday as a result. Now, this was in 2019. Right? This happened in 2019. This article is dated July 24th. But when did manager Marty talk about this? Has manager Marty talked about this? Isn't he the guy who first started to shed light on performance-enhancing drugs in the sport of boxing? When did he talk? No, he's too busy talking about Devin being on snack, talking about Victor Conte, talking about Terrence Crawford being on snack. Yes?
Can I have another pudding?
You can have a little bit. Now, yes. And his trainer, Buddy McGirt, stopped the fight. And he was treated for brain swelling. This is not, you don't play boxing, right? Salute to Dante Russell for another super chat. Thank you so much. He said, so Rolly wasn't a cherry pick when Tank beat him. Of course not. Wait, did I read that? Of course not. No. It's only a cherry pick. And I want y'all to understand why this is a cherry pick now. Why Rolly Romero is a cherry pick for Devin Haney. Because now we know, and Devin was able to demonstrate how much of a dog and what a great boxer he is. What elite level boxer Devin is. And so everybody's going to be a cherry pick. Oh, Hansi, what's the problem? That's what's going to happen. That's what's happening now. Devin, it doesn't matter who Devin fights. Devin has to fight Usyk and Moses Atama to get any credit. And even if he fought them, he still wouldn't get no credit. No. They'll make up another excuse. Mr. Ma said, how in God's name do you cherry pick a champion? You don't. You don't. They became champion. And did Rolly Romero beat anybody become? No, he didn't. But that's not Devin's fault. It's not Devin's fault that they elevated him. When what's his name? Boots, when Jerron Boots Ennis left the division. It's not you. Why are we looking at Devin? Devin just wants to collect the belts. He wants to beat the champions at 147 and become undisputed. That's not Devin's fault. But yeah, this man killed somebody. Russian boxer. He died on Tuesday as a result of injuries he suffered in the ring in his 11th round loss to Subriel Matias. McGirt stopped the fight. Yes. Subriel Matias killed somebody in the ring. And now he's popping dirty for Ostarine.
Right. That's okay.
Now he's popping dirty for Ostarine. Okay. Okay. Well, where does it mention that in the Ring magazine? Does it mention that Subriel Matias previously killed someone in the ring? Let's see. No, it doesn't look like it. They're talking about Lucian Bute testing positive in 2016 with Ostarine, following a draw against Badu Jack. Yeah. Oh, did Mike Coppinger write this? Looks like it. Why didn't he talk about Subriel Matias killing another fighter in this motherfucking in this article? Wouldn't that be relevant information? Right? Wouldn't that, as a journalist, if you had any journalistic integrity and you were aware that Subriel Matias killed someone in the ring previously, and then you find out he pops dirty for Ostarine, a performance-enhancing drug, wouldn't you want to put that in the article? This is why. This is one of the reasons we have a problem with performance-enhancing drug use in the sport of boxing. And when Devin is the victim of this, it's worse because people blame Devin for Ryan Garcia tested positive. It's a goddamn shame, is it not? It's a shame. No, listen, nothing will come of this. He'll fight on January 10th. He'll probably knock this dude out. Nothing will come of it. And then another motherfucker and another motherfucker and another motherfucker will pop dirty. And on it will go unless someone really does something to put a stop to this. And raising the allowable amounts is not going to do that. Raising the allowable levels, like they did for clenbuterol, is not going to stop this. It's going to allow these fighters to push the envelope even further. What did Mauricio Suleiman have to say? He's under investigation. Now, I looked up, I tried to look up where they raised the allowable limits. I was not able to find that right offhand. But, some fans react on social media. But what is it going to come to? Right? What will it come to? This is a extremely serious matter because we're talking about fighters' lives on the line. They already put their lives on the line. Just boxing in general, just stepping in the ring as clean fighters, they're taking a risk. Salute to Slim Hussein in the building. Salute to you, brother. Ostarine sounds like some powerful stuff. It can be powerful. It's more powerful than people believe. See, they like to diminish. They like to diminish the effects of Ostarine. But I've covered and I've related studies to you guys about what Ostarine can do. There are studies that were performed, research that was done in regards to elderly people and how elderly people was able to, with Ostarine, you had a placebo group. It was a double-blind control study. You know what that means? It's as stringent a study as you can get. You had a placebo group, and you have a group that actually had the Ostarine. And the researchers didn't know who got what until after the experiment, after the research was done. Ostarine is extremely effective when it comes to cutting weight, when it comes to whatever you want to call it. When you get older, you start to lose muscle, right? If you're not working out, if you're not exercising, you lose a certain amount of muscle. Well, with Ostarine, they discovered you greatly reduce muscle loss. You greatly reduce the level of endurance. Your endurance increases. Your capability to perform athletic activities increases. Your speed, a lot of different things increase. See, they like to minimize the effects of Ostarine. They'll tell you, it doesn't really do shit. It's a fucking lie. There are studies to back it up. Ostarine is perfect for a boxer. Why? Because you're not gonna put on an insane amount of muscle, and it doesn't have a lot of negative side effects, but it's greatly effective. It's a perfect SARM for a boxer, right? Because Ostarine, like I said, is not going to help you put on a massive amount of muscle. No, but it'll help you increase power. And that's also what the study showed. Increased power output, increased muscle gain, and much less muscle loss over a period of time doing certain activities. So they had these people doing on the treadmill, lifting weights, all kind of shit. Oh, yeah. Anthony Lathan says the fighters got to stand up at some point. The fans can only do so much. The WBC should be boycotted and watched from the sport. I agree 100%. And see, when guys like Turki Al-Sheikh come into the sport and then they hand the keys to the kingdom, essentially, to guys like Dana White to make it a one world order, people start to get upset and wonder why. Right? Turki Al-Sheikh wants one belt per division. So this would be less likely to happen, right? If these sanctioning bodies don't have the power and leverage they have. The reason the WBC is going to allow Subriel Matias to fight on January 10th is because of money. They want their money. They want their bread. They want their 3% or whatever it is. That's exactly why. And that's why Sam High says, what advantage would Ostarine give a boxer in hand-eye, and speed coordination, though? Quite a bit. Quite a bit. The study that I talked about, it would definitely help with speed. It will help you to concentrate. That's also what Ostarine does. It affects your brain in a way that it helps you concentrate more, and it helps you with it. Yes, it helps with that stuff. Yeah, that's also what Ostarine does. So if you want to know more, Mr. Sam Hyde, about what Ostarine can do, I suggest you go watch previous live streams that I've done on Ostarine, because I covered it and did extensive research into it. And I happen to know quite a bit about Ostarine and what it could do. It will help brain function. In that same study that I talked about, the double-blind placebo trial, yeah, they increased cognitive function and maintained cognitive function under certain conditions. The placebo group, many, many times more, or at a higher percentage or a higher rate than the placebo group. You might want to go check that out. Yeah. So if you're talking about cognitive function, hand-eye coordination, and speed, well, that would help with that, wouldn't it? Would it not? What? I don't know. I just took a look at Barry Bonds and still think he takes a natural gift in that regard on steroids. Well, yeah, obviously there's going to be some natural ability and natural skill, but the term is enhancement. Right? Enhancement. The key word is enhancement, regardless of what your skill and your talent are, and your talents are. What's up, baby girl? Hold on a second, guys. Hold on just 1 second. Barry Bonds. Barry Bonds. Okay. Fact of the matter is Barry Bonds was on performance-enhancing drugs. And so, now let's see here. You know, people use when it comes to these performance-enhancing drugs, there is a lot of cavalierness around it, right? A lot of excuses, a lot of this, a lot of that. And this is another reason no one really, like Amir Khan got a 2-year suspension, as he should, right? Well, why aren't they getting 2-year suspensions now? Why is it, 12 months? Why is it, well, we'll raise the limit. Why are they doing this? Why is this allowed to continue? Why, they're going to test the waters. These fighters are going to test the water. Subriel Matias is going to fight anyway on January 10th. And then they're going to say, any fighter that wants to use performance-enhancing drugs, they're just going, we'll just microdose. We'll microdose over a long period of time, and we'll try to stay under that allowable limit. But again, they'll microdose, and the effects build up. They accumulate in your body, and you get more and more enhanced over time. And then, yes, at a certain point, there are diminishing returns. But if you're microdosing over a period of time, well, then, you're still going to have that much more enhancement, right? And it might be 3%, 4%, 5% of enhancement. You might get a 5% increase in strength and power and speed. It might be 5%, it might be 4%. But when you look at, for instance, when you look at track, when you look at like a 100-meter dash, the difference between first and second place can be less than a percentage, can be less than 5%, can be less than 4%. You're talking about a fraction of a second of a difference between first and second place. Well, if that second place runner says, okay, I got to face this runner the next time, I'm going to take a performance-enhancing drug that will give me a 5% increase and enhance my performance by 5%. Next thing you know, in the next meet, that second place fighter becomes the runner, becomes the first place runner due to that 5% increase. So that's what most people don't understand. Microdosing can also lower effectiveness depending on the drug. If you microdose over a longer period of time and it's accumulative, the effects, it builds up in your body. Microdosing, you say, lowers effectiveness. But if you weren't taking the damn thing in the first place, if you weren't using the performance-enhancing drug in the first place, there would be no effectiveness to lower. So you're talking about lowering the enhancement, but there's still an enhancement. You see, Edge of the South. This is guys like Edge of the South. People like Edge of the South, Sam Hyde. This is the reason, right? Guys like that who look at it from that lens. Oh, it's not that much of an enhancement. It's just a little bit of an enhancement. Well, they microdose, so the enhancement is not as much as if they were dosing a larger amount. Hold on, guys. This is the problem. So what if microdosing lowers the effectiveness? The fact of the matter is there's effectiveness. There is enhancement. This is the problem. Let's hear what some of these prominent voices in the sport have to say about it. I mean, he's not really prominent in the sport now, but he will be.
I think that with all, I hate talking about drug testing, but with all of our knowledge that we have in the years that we've been drug testing, we believe the people who handle the drug testing that he had tainted, he took a tainted supplement and that he did not cheat. And,
Do you hear that? Maybe did y'all hear that?
First of all, none of that is any of my business. It's not my card. It's not my whatever. But I think that with all, I hate talking about drug testing, but with all of our knowledge that we have in the years that we've been drug testing, we believe the people who handle the drug testing that he had tainted, he took a tainted supplement and that he did not cheat. And, if he had the right people around him and had the right, that wouldn't have happened. For all of our knowledge that we have in the years that we've been drug testing, we believe the people who handle the drug testing that he had tainted, he took a tainted supplement.
He said the people that handled the drug testing said that it was a tainted supplement. So who handled the drug testing? Who handled the drug testing for Ryan Garcia? Didn't VADA do it? VADA and WADA. When did WADA say that the adverse findings were due to tainted supplements? When did that happen? Who said that? When did WADA and VADA say that it was tainted supplements and that who said Ryan Garcia didn't cheat? This is the man who is going to be running boxing probably and trying to get rid of the Ali Act, saying that he believes the people who handled the drug testing, when they say there was no cheating and that there was tainted supplements, WADA and VADA, who handled the drug testing, did not say that.
And that he did not cheat. Our knowledge that we have in the years that we've been drug testing, we believe the people who handle the drug testing that he had tainted, he took a tainted supplement and that he did not cheat. And, if he had the right people around him and had the right, that wouldn't have happened. First,
think about that. He said the people who handled the drug testing, he believes them when they say there were tainted supplements and he did not cheat. WADA and VADA handled the drug testing. They never said that. So what is he talking about? What is he talking about?
If you're going to use that cop-out.
Listen, here is More Plates, More Dates, who is basically a YouTuber who, I mean, I wouldn't say he's a professional bodybuilder. I don't think he's ever competed, but he knows a lot about performance-enhancing drugs because he's used them, right? This guy was very outspoken when Ryan Garcia popped dirty. But he is never, ever outspoken about any other fighter who popped dirty, ever, in his entire YouTube career. But he decided to come out during Ryan Garcia popping dirty and basically tell y'all some shit like this.
You would probably pick a smarter drug to get popped for, but not be using Ostarine or one of the most highly detectable anabolic steroids. And if you were going to go about it, you'd probably do it in a smarter way. It's possible, and I just don't think it's the case. I think he probably accidentally took this. At the end of the day,
accidentally took this. Okay. This man said
he tested positive for performance-enhancing.
It's one, everybody.
He
if you're
probably
going to use that cop-out, you would probably pick a smarter drug to get popped for, but not be using Ostarine or one of the most highly detectable anabolic steroids. And if you were going to go about it, you'd probably do it in a smarter way.
Ostarine is not an anabolic steroid. It's a SARM. It's a selective androgen receptor modulator. It's not a steroid. First of all, in a smarter way, what's a smarter way?
It's possible, and I just don't think it's the case. I think he probably accidentally took this. At the end of the day, he tested positive for
Accidentally took this.
performance-enhancing drugs, and he's going to be dealing with the shit show of it for a while now, unfortunately. If you're going to Unfortunately, Ryan Garcia is going to be suffering consequences for using performance-enhancing drugs. This is a man right here who has millions and millions of subscribers on YouTube. He is looked at as an authority on performance-enhancing drugs, and he's telling you that you would take a smarter drug. What is a smarter drug? Ostarine is effective, just effective enough to do exactly what you needed to do as a boxer. So what is he talking about? Ostarine is a drug, is a performance enhancer that you would likely use as a boxer because it's not going to get you super jacked. That's not the point. You don't want to be super jacked as a boxer. He's looking at it from the lens of a bodybuilder who wants the most gains possible. That's not what Ryan... Yeah, you're not going to use Ostarine for that. You're going to use Ostarine alongside other performance enhancers, kind of like to help augment the other enhancement drugs you're using if you want to be a bodybuilder. If you don't, yeah, as a bodybuilder, it wouldn't be a very smart drug to take alone. But he's not a bodybuilder. He's a boxer. It's a completely different thing. But again, this is why no repercussions ever really happen. And less and less repercussions will happen more and more in the future. In the future, you will see more people popping dirty and barely nothing will happen to them because of this type of shit going out there. See, this, all those people that will come to these channels and say, oh, Ostarine don't do shit. It doesn't help you. It doesn't do this. It's not this and that. It doesn't really enhance your performance. It didn't make him miss the left hook and all this bullshit. It's because of people like this. This is why. use that cop-out, you would probably pick a smarter drug to get popped for, but not be using Ostarine or one of the most highly detectable anabolic steroids. And if you were going to go about it, you'd probably do it in a smarter way. It's possible, and I just don't think it's the case. I think he probably accidentally took this. At the end of the
What gives him that impression that he accidentally took it? The ashwagandha?
This is what we're dealing with.
It's war on everybody. That's
This man is being platformed. He was being platformed to make these excuses.
trying to make it seem like I'm a cheater. I don't do steroids. Never did steroids in my life. I barely take supplements. Only reason I did supplements this time is because my therapist gave me fucking ashwagandha. I'm clean throughout the whole fucking camp.
Now you hear that. The only supplement he took, according to him, because of his therapist, was ashwagandha. Did he say super carbs? Did he mention those other 2 supplements that he sent to a lab unsealed that had Ostarine in it? And then, but when they went to the lot that these things actually came from, there were 0 positive tests for Ostarine in any of those things. He was on nandrolone. Well, they detected nandrolone in the system, and they said it was bullshit, right? He was probably also on nandrolone, but it was less, right? It was just little enough for them to say, oh, well, we're not going to count that as an adverse finding, right? It is what it is. I mean.
And then supposedly I pop heavy the day before and after.
That's what I don't get. Like, I don't know. I'm not necessarily saying like I'm on your side and like let's defend Ryan and shit, because like I don't fucking know. It doesn't make sense that he would start taking steroids the week of the fight, because it has no effect.
Just because Ryan popped dirty the day before and the day of does not mean he had just started taking it the week of the fight. No, that means that as he was cutting weight, the metabolites from the goddamn drug, the metabolites that were created from using the drugs to metabolize it were discovered. That doesn't mean that he had only been using it for that week of the fight. That's not what that means at all. That's not how that works.
Would have got popped in camp.
It's war on everybody.
No, you wouldn't have got popped in camp. That's not how that works. Right? We would listen. We went through all this, right? Last year, debunking the bullshit. And now Subriel Matias pops dirty. 7,000 of Eddie Reynoso's fighters pop dirty. And mum's the word, right? What's his name? Jaime Munguia, didn't he pop dirty for testosterone? I mean, but he was able to do whatever he wanted to do. He suffered no repercussions at all. He wasn't suspended. And then the other guy, this year, nothing happens. Right? This is where we are in the sport right now. They went on a campaign to minimize Ryan Garcia's performance-enhancing drug usage, right? Because they don't really care if the fighters pop dirty, as long as they're getting that bread.
Listen,
right?
Someone just get.
You know. Now, here's another one, right? Do y'all remember this? I just want to remind you guys why no one really cares about people popping dirty anymore. Even fighters who, killed someone in their career, popping dirty. No, this is one of the reasons. Now, the WBC is going to raise the allowable minutes to limits to allow Subriel Matias to fight, and that's just what's going to happen. And are they going to stop fighting in the WBC? Are fighters going to be outraged and drop their belts and say, fuck you? We'll see. I doubt it. Right? Hell, they might hop on the juice them damn selves. Like, okay, looks like I can use Ostarine now. If I do it intelligently, if I microdose over a certain period, if I use maybe I'll use a hormone doctor. Maybe I'll use somebody that can help make sure that I stay just under the limit and get the performance that I want to get from it. Because the WBC is going to raise the limits, just like they raise the limits for Clenbuterol. Except Clenbuterol, that was found in the meat, right? Supposedly. See, this is a slippery slope. This slippery slope is not a fallacy. It is a real slippery slope. Next thing you know, everybody's going to be on the juice. And then it's going to be like, well, everybody should just be on the juice. Next thing you know, these performance-enhancing drugs will just be completely allowed. They will not be banned at all, right? Pretty soon they might stop testing for them. Like, okay, well, if the sanctioning bodies are going to continue to raise the allowable limit, Erica Sanders says baseball. Yeah. I don't know if it's I don't know about baseball. You know, I'm not a baseball guy, but it just, it's a slippery slope. And this is a slippery slope in a sport that is extremely dangerous. What is going to discourage these fighters from using performance-enhancing drugs if they keep raising limits, if they keep raising thresholds? What's going to stop them? Not a motherfucking thing. No, you're just going to find more fighters who are just going to pop. They're just going to use performance enhancers. They're going to be like, well, what's the point of not using them if everybody else is going to use, if they're going to raise the limit and allow other fight? Why can't I'm just going to hop on it. And it's not going to stop with Ostarine. It's going to go to other drugs. Right? Now, this is why I call this man son of goof. Right? Now, we know Eddie Hearn is a piece of shit. We know Eddie Hearn is a snake. He going to be slick. You know, but this is an interview between Eddie Hearn and Andre Ward. You know, this was soon after the Ryan Garcia fight, and Eddie Hearn was still kind of cool with Devin Haney. And, you know, the conversation right here, this conversation is really about excusing and trying to pushing the narrative of what Ryan Garcia took it for. Once again, to minimize, right? To minimize the severity. Oh, well, he was just taking it for this purpose.
Given the week that, he popped, obviously the test takes several weeks, but he popped the week, he popped the week of the fight and then the night of the fight. You don't start taking things the week of the fight and the night of the fight.
Once again, just because Ryan popped dirty the week of does not mean he started taking it the week of. You see, now that's a fallacy. That is the post hoc fallacy. Post hoc, ergo Proctor hoc, right? Well, because he popped dirty the week of the fight, that means he started taking it the week of the fight. That's not what that means. That's a post hoc, ergo Proctor hoc fallacy. And they're throwing that out there. And this is why, again, you hear people running around repeating this fallacy, right? To channels that are trying to hold a Ryan Garcia accountable, which is falling on deaf ears because obviously, this is what they're saying. So obviously it's Andre Ward and Eddie Hearn. They have to know what the hell they're talking about, right? But right off the bat, he's spewing a fallacy that is a retarded fallacy, right?
Given the rumors start taking, he popped the obviously the test takes several weeks, but he popped the.
Try and help him make weight for the fight.
That's what I believe.
But he started that it was in relation to the weight cut. It was in him in the fight. 12 weeks ago, and it was in him in the fight. If I'm honest, being through all these different 50 cases and like stuff like that.
Also,
I don't
50 cases. This Eddie Hearn is talking about how he was involved in cases where 50 fighters pop dirty.
I think it did into what it is. The amounts. There's a lot of bullshit.
Tested positive for two substances, right?
Yes, for different fights. I know. 50. I mean, listen.
So it hit at the same time.
Yeah, and it's just like, I mean, listen. I've had 50 positive drug tests in my promotional career for different fights. I know.
50 positive drug tests in his career, in his promotional career.
How it goes down, but this one was just like, and it was obviously then you do your research into what it is, the amounts. There's a lot of bullshit.
Tested positive for two substances, right?
Yeah. I believe that.
Did the second one get confirmed?
I don't think it did. No, I think it was just Ostarine in terms of what come back. So, that it was, and one of the horrible things is it was on the night before the fight, and it was on fight night. So categorically that it was in his system during the fight. Not they cycled out 12 weeks ago, and it was in him in the fight. If I'm honest, being through all these different 50 cases and like stuff like that, it would.
Why are there 50 cases under his promotional company? Why were there 50 cases of positive drug tests? 50 cases where he had fighters pop dirty. It's something like a pattern, right? Didn't Conor Benn pop dirty? Conor Benn is one of his fighters. He popped dirty. What happened to Conor Benn? He fought in the United States and got, he got suspended from UCAD, right? But he just fought somewhere else. That's this man's fighter. Now, I don't know if all 50 cases were his fighters, but he was involved in fights where, at 50 cases where he was involved in fights where motherfuckers pop dirty. 50 cases.
Lead me to believe that it was in relation to the weight cut, right?
Leads him to believe that it was in relation to the weight cut. Once again, when you hear people say, "Oh, it was in relation to the weight cut," I was just cutting weight. It's a weight cutting agent. This is where people run around talking about Ostarine is like a weight cutting. No, it's not. Ostarine is not a fat burner. It's not a fat burner. What it does is, if you're on a weight cut, if you're trying to, shred up, you're trying to lose weight, you're trying to lose a lot of water weight, well, it helps you maintain muscle mass. It helps you maintain strength and power and muscle mass and all that other shit, and speed and endurance while you're cutting weight. That's what it does not cut weight for you. It's not what you don't use Ostarine to cut weight in and of itself. You use it to prevent muscle loss and power, prevent that. To prevent the loss of power, prevent the loss of speed, prevent the loss of endurance, prevent the loss of cognitive function when you are cutting weight. That's what it does.
I think you know enough as well. Like, I don't believe if you're cheating on a cycle or whatever, I don't know, in camp.
It's not going to be the week of.
No,
or the night.
And you're not going to. So, he says it was contamination, but if it wasn't contamination, I believe he's probably taken that to try and help him make weight for the fight.
That's what I believe. Given when the test,
that's what he believes.
The week that he popped. Obviously, the test takes several weeks, but he popped the week. Excuse me. He popped the week of the fight and then the night of the fight. You don't start taking things the week of the fight and the night of the fight. Given the rumors about how he showed up to New York in terms of how much weight he was over, I believe somebody said, take this,
it'll help
some
you,
form
man.
of diuretic, take it, and he didn't do his research, and he popped. But he's responsible for it.
Yeah, for sure.
It just is what it is.
But now,
Ostarine is not a diuretic, right? It's not a diuretic. And they're basically saying, well, if it wasn't contaminated supplements, well, he was just using it to cut weight. What does that do? Oh, but they're also saying, oh, well, he's responsible. Oh, so you're putting onus on Ryan Garcia, but you're diminishing what effect Ostarine has. Ostarine is not a diuretic. It is not a fat burner. It does more than people think, and which is why I covered and talked about the study that showed that it not only prevents you from losing muscle, it also helps you increase muscle mass, increase cognitive function, increase endurance, increase all these different things. It is a performance enhancer. You don't use it alone to build muscle. No, you build the muscle, pre-peak week, right? When bodybuilders go into peak week, when they're getting ready to compete, peak week is the week where they could do all the cutting. They take all the diuretics. They do all the cardio. They get off of the, they stop lifting as much weights. They stop going as heavy. They do this, they do that because they want to shred down, right? They want to get as lean as possible. Well, during peak week and before that, right? During your cycle, you'll take an Ostarine to help it prevents you from muscle loss, because even before peak week, you are cutting. You're just not cutting as intensely as you do during peak week. So even when you start your cycle, you're trying to gain as much muscle and be as lean as possible and do it in a strategic and timely fashion to where you're not killing yourself and you're not losing as much muscle. Salute to J-Man in the building. Salute to you, man. Thank you for coming through. Ostarine is not a diuretic. It's not a diuretic.
He's got 12 months, which he probably needs, but only if he uses that 12 months in the right way.
He's not slowing down.
No,
he's stirring things up.
Yeah, crazy.
Everywhere he can. I mean, I think he called me out a couple weeks ago. Somebody sent me a twist of this dude.
Yeah.
That's another story. Have you talked to Devin Haney?
Yeah, a few times. Yeah. I think he's taking it rough, honestly. Like,
it's a tough loss.
And again, because of what he went through physically in that fight, and also the world.
It's a tough loss. No, it's not a loss. Right? It wasn't a loss. It's not a loss. The guy was on performance-enhancing drugs. Ryan Garcia did not win because he was cheating, right? So in his own little slick way, these two guys, they are diminishing what Ostarine, the effect Ostarine can have on a fighter. At the same time, trying to act like, well, Ryan Garcia should be punished for it, right? But then you say, oh, I think he was just using it to cut weight. It doesn't matter what he was using it for, but that's not what you use Ostarine for. You use diuretics and fat burners. You use those things to cut weight, and you do a lot of cardio. And you do, and it's the diuretics are to drain you of the water weight. Ostarine is not a diuretic. Ostarine is used alongside diuretics and alongside weight cuts, alongside leaning out, you bulk up after a competition, off season, and then once you start getting back in the groove, all right, I'm gonna compete in this thing, I'm gonna compete in that thing. Then you go into your cutting phase gradually, and you take Ostarine and you take your testosterone or whatever you're taking. That's what you do. Ostarine is not. You start using diuretics closer to the competition to shred as much and pull as much water out as possible. That's what what's that dude's name that fought Frank Martin? Forgot his name. The Michelle Rivera or whatever his name is. He was taking diuretics. That's a completely different compound. But of course, they're not really trying to educate anybody. They don't really care, right?
That we live in so crazy.
So this is the problem we got. This is the problem we have. J-Man says Ward's hate been showing for some time. He's trying his best not to look like one, but it's there. Oh, absolutely. Because they tell you, oh, well, that he was just using it to cut weight. Devin just got his ass whooped, right? He got knocked down 3 times by a drug cheat, but the drugs that the drug cheat used, well, it didn't help Ryan Garcia be faster and stronger and more powerful. It didn't do that. I would argue because Ryan Garcia was on Ostarine, he couldn't cut those last 3 pounds because the Ostarine made it hard for him to lose muscle, because you're also going to be losing some muscle during your weight cut. Yeah, you're going to become catabolic at some point. If you go into an extreme calorie deficit, you're going to lose some fat, you're going to lose water, and you're going to lose some muscle. Well, those 3 pounds, some of that could have been muscle that he would have lost without the Ostarine, but because he was on Ostarine, he couldn't lose those last 3 pounds. Did they forget that Ryan Garcia, which they didn't mention, Ryan Garcia still came in 3 pounds overweight, but you're talking about, oh, he used it for a weight cut. If you don't knock it off, knock it off. But now, Subriel Matias test pops dirty. Jaime Munguia and other fighters, the usual people, you know, they talk about it. They bring light to it. They shed light on it, and they talk about how horrible it is. The same individuals, the same people, right? Members of the LDBC, champ side, the usual suspects, the usual motherfuckers that are really, they really are on that integrity. They're really about integrity, really about cleaning up the sport. It's just those guys. That's it. And, you know, we already know how that goes. We know how that goes. Let me see. Let me see what this dude talking about now. This shit's crazy. This man cannot stop talking about Devin. As much as he hates Devin, he loves Devin. As much as he hates Devin, he loves Devin. And now he's talking about where's the Devin from the Kambosos fight.
But what I'm saying is, with Sasaki, we saw the same flamboyant fight out of Norman. He knocked the dude memory out of his brain. But when he got into the fight with Devin, he was thoroughly outclassed.
But this now, Norman is not nearly the talent that Boots Ennis is, bro.
Oh, hey, but all I'm saying is Boots had not been in there with any class. He has not been in there. We can all agree on that.
Norman ain't no class, bro. Stop it. I don't think it was a class. I think it was more of a skill deficit.
Oh, look at these guys.
He was in there with bro.
Boxing hacker. Boxing black hacker, as BF calls him. 2 cents or no sense, as champ side will call her. No sense. Big Dog Willie in there. And Mr. Too Rich in there. Speaking the truth to knock off Pity Pat. J-Man says KO jaw so hungover from all the gossiping. That's funny. Yeah. My petty bones got me on this right now.
Huh? Former champion Sergey Lipinets. Former champion, bro.
So now
This
former
champion
champion
is
is
good.
good.
How much Norman quit, bro? What are you talking about?
So now former champion is good. So when
Santana was a current champion.
come on now,
Say it again, bro.
now former
Santana was a
champion is
current
good.
champion when Norman beat him.
He was the interim. They were fighting for the interim belt, bro. There wasn't no world championship, bro.
So
Brian
you
Norman
think
got
Boots got
elevated,
a
man.
resume? So you think Boots got
Now,
a
hold on.
resume?
Now this guy, knockoff Pity Pat, is acting like Brian Norman ain't shit. Oh, Santillan, that wasn't no world champion fight, bro. That was for the interim. Okay, yes, it was. But now you acting like Brian Norman wasn't on no type of level. But when on the lead up to the fight, you were saying all kind of shit. Brian Norman has better experience. He has better footwork, better athleticism, all these different things. Crazy work.
I think Boots got a resume for who was willing to fight him. And here's what I also like to pay attention to.
What? He thinks Boots has a resume for who was willing to fight him. What does that even mean? What does that mean, y'all? I think Boots has a resume for who was willing to fight him. But we're forgetting that Boots decided to go to 154 and take 2 tune-up fights instead of going right to the smoke. But it's who chooses not to. What does that even mean?
When it comes to Boots, a resume for who
Boots got a resume. So you think Boots got a resume?
I think Boots got a resume for who was willing to fight him. And here's
word salad. Just say no. Just say no. Salute to We Juggernaut Entertainment. Salute to you. Just say no. The answer is no. Why are we? Oh, he has a resume for who's willing to fight him. What does that even mean? You can say that about anybody. You can say that about any fighter. Oh, do you think that? Do you think Jin Sasaki has a great resume? He has a great resume for who's willing to fight him. The fuck? What? And yes or no? Come on, now. People fall for this shit. People think this is an intelligent answer.
What I also like to pay attention to when it comes to Boots. Look at how everyone moves around him, bro. And I'm gonna go to 2 cents because I know she want to get in here. The way that people move around Boots is, nigga, I need my highest payday to fight you. I'm gonna duck you anyway. He got to send out 4-5 offers before somebody actually take the fight. Niggas is don't want to unify all of a sudden. They don't want to do nothing. Everybody's sucking themselves down to 140, 135 until he finally leave 147. The way that people talk about him, bro, that sound
like Devin though. That sound like Devin. That was the same thing with Devin.
Niggas don't talk about Devin and revel at Devin the way they revel
were
at
running from him.
Niggas don't talk about Devin and revel at Devin like they revel about Boots. Huh? What? Man, I think they do, though. People talk way more about Devin than they talk about Boots. Who revels? Yeah, there are certain people that revels about Boots, but at the end of the day, Boots has not stepped up the competition enough to get any true reveling outside of the people that rock with Boots because they're from Philly or, whatever the case may be. But there's, okay, I guess.
Nobody running from no Devin too, Rick. Stop it.
No one's revving. Ain't nobody running from no Devin. Boots ran. Well, I don't want to say Boots ran from Devin, but T.O. ran from Devin, ran from an $11 million payday. Tonka Truck Davis ran from Devin. Oh, they did. Yeah. Shakur ran from Devin. These guys did. Yeah, they do. They do run from Devin.
Stop it, man.
Ain't nobody running from
Stop
no
it, bro.
Devin.
Like if you want Devin versus Boots, bro. You want Devin versus Boots? Push for him to move up.
Hey, well, I think he should. I think if they don't get the Xander Zayas fight, because they talk about Xander.
Why would we tell Devin to move up to 154? He said he's going to be at 147 for a while. Why are we talking about Devin going to 154 to fight Boots? Boots don't want to fight. Boots wants to fight another tune-up. Didn't he say he wanted to fight 2 tune-ups? They always want Devin to move up. But if Devin goes up to 154 and whoops somebody's ass up there, they're going to tell him to go to 160 to fight Lara. Then if he beats Lara, I'll go up to. But Devin, why would Devin go to 154 right now? He's trying to unify and become undisputed at 147. Why are we talking about? Why are we talking about if Boots doesn't get the Xander Zayas fight, then he should fight Devin? Why are we talking about that? Boots needs to step his own goddamn competition up. Boots needs to step up and fight somebody on the elite level. Boots needs to step up and challenge himself more. Devin's done that many times over. Why are we what?
Zayas, go
I'm
get
about to
Boots.
fight no Xander
Go get
Zayas.
Boots.
Hey, KO.
Go get Boots.
Hey, KO.
Before you get some class, go get them like you did Norman. Before Boots
All I
get some
know,
class.
this is what I know, bro. Too Rich. You like Shakur Stevenson, and then I got to go to 2 cents. You like Shakur, bro? You think Shakur good?
Yeah.
You think Shakur got a high ring IQ?
Yeah.
You think Shakur one of the best fighters in boxing?
This is a fact. CJ from the 504. This is a fact. He doesn't even have a belt. I mean, it is what it is. So why would Devin do that when he's already made it clear he's going to be at 147 for a while? This guy tells Devin to move up to fight Boots because Rolly's a cherry pick. Now Rolly's a cherry pick, and he's trying to say that Brian Norman Jr. was a cherry pick. No, Devin went up and challenged the champion, the WBO champion. He wanted to become champion at 147. He wanted to become a belt holder.
Yeah.
All right, so Shakur Stevenson got 2 separate quotes. Just hear me out. You think highly of him, you think he got a high ring IQ, you think the nigga know what he talking about. Cool, no problem. I'm not as high as Shakur as you are, but I'm going somewhere with it. So Shakur Stevenson, did you know he sparred both Devin Haney and Jerome Boots Ennis? You know he been in the ring with both of them. You know that?
Oh yeah. No, I didn't know that.
Yeah, he sparred both of them, and he got quotes in public on Fight Hype of both of them. He said this about Devin Haney: "I love to fight Devin Haney. Every time we sparred, I always got the best of Dev." Right? Then they asked about Shakur sparring Boots Ennis. Shakur Stevenson said Boots Ennis was hitting me with shit I didn't even see. I didn't know he was that fast. He was bigger than me, stronger than me, and he was faster than me. He was hitting me in ways I had never been hit before in sparring.
What did Devin come out and say? Or what did Shakur come out and say after that? He said, "Oh well, I didn't really get the best of him every time. So now we're supposed to trust anything that." If you're willing to lie the first time about how the sparring with Devin, and you're saying, "Oh, I got the best of him every time," and then after that you come back and say, "Well, I didn't really get the best of him every time." Why should we believe anything he has to say? And so what if didn't Brian Norman Jr. rock Boots and Terrence Bud Crawford? Isn't that what they've been saying? Oh, during sparring, Brian Norman Jr. hurt Terrence Crawford, and he hurt Jerron Boots Ennis, and he hurt this guy and hurt that guy. But when it came to facing Devin, who got hurt? Brian Norman Jr. got hurt. So none of that translated to hurting Devin, hurting Boots, hurting Terrence Crawford. None of that translated for Brian Norman, did it? This is sparring we're talking about. These people don't want Devin to move up because there is no one at 147 with a chance of hell defeating. Oh yeah, well, that's the reality. Brian Norman was clearly the most dangerous man Devin made it look easy. Well, I don't believe Brian Norman Jr. was the most dangerous at 147, in my opinion. And in previous live streams, I talked about why, and I showed why that's not really the case. I think there are guys up there that are better than Brian Norman Jr., right? that could give Devin a little bit more problems than Brian Norman Jr. did.
So as I said, niggas don't talk about Devin the way they talk about Boots, bro.
So why he ain't do that?
So what way do people talk about Boots that they don't talk about Devin?
Karen.
Because obviously Karen is a good fighter. What is wrong with y'all?
Hey, KO.
2 cents. You go ahead.
Go.
Let me say this real quick.
Go ahead, 2 cents.
I really don't be understanding y'all, man. It really don't be making no sense. Y'all swear Devin Haney be running to the smoke, but y'all fail to mention that he bumped into a couple of mirrors on the way. Like I keep saying.
What? Bump into a couple mirrors? So now here we go with more word salad and mental gymnastics. Devin does run to the smoke. Oh, but he runs into a couple mirrors. He bumps into mirrors. What?
Y'all swear up and down that Devin Haney is just challenging himself and he fighting all the tough fights when the truth is he beating B and C level fighters. But according to y'all,
he's beating B and C level fighters. Well, what did Brian Norman? What did Jerron Boots in his fight? What A-level fighter did Jerron Boots in his fight? What A-level fighter did Tonka Truck Davis fight? What A-level fighters has any of these guys support? Who are they? What A-level fighters have these people fought? Shakur. What A-level fighter has Shakur fought? I can tell you an A-level fighter Devin fought. Lomachenko. Lomachenko was one. So no one that they put above Devin has fought anybody on the level of Lomachenko, except for Teofimo Lopez. Teofimo beat Loma. So there's a fair case to say that, right? Shit is crazy.
Everything is okay as long as there's a belt involved. So do y'all want to see everything is okay as long as there's a belt involved?
As long as there's a belt involved. So now we're saying, well, if Devin goes to a division to fight a champion and get belts so that he can unify and become undisputed, now we're saying, well, you're not supposed to fight the champion in that weight class that has that belt. You're cherry picking the champion now simply because now that Devin whooped his ass, now he is a cherry pick. Well, it doesn't matter if they had a belt. Well, that was Devin's goal. Devin's goal was to become a belt holder at 147 so that he could start to unify and all these different things. So what are we talking about? Oh, well, just saying you're doing it for a belt. This shit is crazy work. Because you know that Tonka Truck Davis is not interested in unifying. So, you know, you can use that argument all day and night because your guy, let me tell y'all something. If Tonka Truck Davis moved up to 147 and beat Brian Norman Jr., they would be on the moon right now. Brian Norman Jr. would not be a C or B level fighter. These people are full of fucking shit. I was able, and many of us were able to admit that Brian Norman Jr. is not a A-level fighter. He is a C-level fighter. He just happened to be the belt holder. But Brian Norman Jr. wasn't Devin's first pick at 147. The top dog at 147 left 147 when Devin was trying to fight him. So what is she talking about?
So do y'all want to see the best fight the best or the quote unquote best fight for belts? Like y'all have to make up a mind of y'all standard. And this is why y'all fall for anything. All people got to do is hide behind belt or hide behind.
Now we're hiding behind belts. You're not chasing greatness if you're going for a belt. You're hiding behind a belt now. See, they thought Devin was going to get his ass beat. They thought Brian Norman Jr. was going to, they flatlined Devin. They thought Devin was supposed to die. Devin was, you know what I'm saying? That's what Brian Norman Jr. said. I'm going to kill you. I'm killing you, boy. Oh, I was gonna kill you, boy. That's what he said. And y'all believed it. This motherfucker right here had y'all believing it. Now, Devin's hiding behind the belt. He just beat Brian Norman Jr. last weekend. And he's already trying to fight Rolly Romero to unify. Why? Why isn't he fighting Ryan Garcia like this dummy is talking about that he should do? Oh, Debo versus King Lion.
Well, money.
Ryan Garcia wants to fight Mario Barrios. That's why. Ryan Garcia ain't trying to fight Devin next. He's trying to go after what he considers to be low-hanging fruit. Yeah, that's exactly what's going on. CJ from the 504 says, B. Norman is an exceptional knockout artist that eradicates his opponent's memories. Devin Haney just happens to be a special talent. Yes. I'm not going to say he's an exceptional knockout artist. I'm not going to say that because, you know, the knockouts that he achieved were to bums, and his latest knockout where, you know, he erased the guy's memory, a lot of that had to do with how badly Jin Sasaki sucked and how Jin Sasaki put himself in a position to get knocked out so devastatingly. So I'm not going to say exceptional, but, you know, I respect your opinion.
First, as long as you a champion, you could fight anybody. You a champion. Now all of a sudden it's okay for Shakur Stevenson to say Abdullah Mason is a baby. Well, according to y'all standard, if he's a champion, he's qualified to fight anybody else that's a champion. Y'all let these people get to jump through these hoops and use these excuses, hiding behind the legacy and the money. But when it's other fighters that y'all don't like, all y'all do is criticize them for not doing this. And
this is the nonsense that's going on. I'm gonna get on off of here, man. I'm getting sleepy. See, I'm trying to tell y'all, man, if y'all need to wear these, y'all need to get y'all some of these glasses. Because every time I put them on and I get in front of this screen, and I got this red light going on right here. I got my one screen on red. Man, it's making me nice and sleepy. I'm gonna get a good night's sleep tonight. So anyway, thank y'all for coming through. Thank you for checking me out. I appreciate you guys. Thank you for the support. Thank you for the super chats. Thank you for the likes. You know, hopefully we can hopefully there will be more accountability in the sport in terms of drug performance enhancing drug usage. This is what needs to happen, man. We need to stop having people make excuses, raise allowable limits. There needs to be repercussions for this, right? You know, and it has. We need more voices speaking out against this. So hopefully we can get to that point at some time. But anyway, thank you guys for coming through. Like, share, subscribe, and let's keep marching forward toward freedom and truth. Peace.